What's up, everybody? This is Julie and Kathleen with another episode of my favorite episode of. We don't have a guest this week, so you're just dealing with us. And we are...
you just got the girls.
Yeah, the girls club. And we are going to be talking about the entire series of season 1, Love is Blind, on Netflix.
Is Love blind, Joels? Do you think?
I don't know.
I think that there are two types of people who go on this show. One, cuckoo bananas humans.
Mm-hmm.
And two, in it for the fame.
Yep.
I don't understand, like, these kinds of shows. Like, you're on camera. So I never know, like, if you can actually believe what's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If
they're literally mic'd up.
And I want to be, if I want to be famous, I'm going on one of these shows and I'm being Gigi or, like, someone. And I'm just going extra as fuck, you know?
Yep. So, for those of you listening that may have not, I highly doubt you haven't heard about this show because literally, like, the week it came out, it was, like, similar to Tiger King, like, memes everywhere. I kept seeing, like, tweets of being like, good morning to everyone except Jessica. Like, there was just shit everywhere. So, another series that just, like, popped off immediately and everyone was watching it. But basically, this show is, like, The Bachelor meets The Bachelorette, and they just combined it, and they were like, here's a group of strangers that are males, and here's a group of strangers that are females. They both want to find love, so we're just going to put them in this area, and they're going to make it work. The only thing that's different than The Bachelor and The Bachelorette compared to this show is these people talk to each other through, like, a wall. So they're in these little things called pods, and they meet, quote unquote, each other, and they just talk. And that's why the show is called Love is Blind, because they really don't see who they're talking to, but they're forming connections with these people, which I will say that's the one thing that I do kind of like about it, because it's a good thing of being, like, not judging someone by their appearance, right? Like, you're actually getting to know, like, them as a person rather than, like, judging them by, like, their looks and not giving them a chance. You know what I mean?
Sure. I mean, I agree. The crazy thing about this show is the timelines of it all. Like, I didn't know the premise when everyone was talking about it. I probably was, like, a week late to the bandwagon, and I started it, and I was like, this is absolute madness.
Yep.
Like, one of the couples, which we'll get to, said I love you on the fourth day. Fourth day.
Absolutely crazy.
And so they're in these pods. Basically, it's set up like there's a girl side of the house, a boy side of the house, and then the connecting them, the two sides of the houses are these pods, and then they do speed dating in between. And it is, like, truly, truly wild that some of the interactions that happen, some of my favorite interactions are, like, when Scary Amber, is talking and Carlton just walks out of the room. Is, like, so good. And I was scared of her too. But I mean, he's such a dick, and we'll get to it.
Yeah.
But there's some really good, I mean, it's made, like, it's good drama. And then I have some good facts, but basically, so the timeline goes, they have about, I don't know, I'm winging this, Joelle, so correct me if I'm wrong, but they have, like, 10 days to propose to each other. Mm-hmm. If they propose to each other, they get to meet each other the next day or so.
Yep.
Then the couples that are now fiancés go to Mexico. They spend, like, one night together alone. Then they meet up everybody else who they had been talking to in the pods.
Yep.
So all the girls already know each other. They're, like, living together. All the boys know each other already. So that's where I was really, like, the peak of it for me was in that timing of okay, I'm so hyped for the people who didn't pick each other to meet each other, you know?
Right, yep. So of this series, there's 10 episodes, and then the 11th episode is, like, where are they now, basically, and, like, what's going on with each couple. So episode 1 is, just like Kathleen said, like, the interactions where they're in the pods. The girls know each other, the guys know each other, but the girls and the guys don't know each other, so they're just talking through the pods, getting to know each other, and finding out if they have a connection with anyone. Episode 2 is then the proposals, which is just sick to even say.
Bonkers.
Yeah. Episode 3 is if they accepted the proposal, they meet in person, and then they spend their first night together. So this one's like a little interesting because like some of them had sex and some of them didn't. And if you think about it, it's like you're really banging a complete stranger. Like I guess it's like Tinder on crack. Is like what this is.
I mean, 100%. What like okay, let's just go through the humans, right? Because I want to start diving into like the stupid things they do.
Yeah, so well what I was going to do is go through the timeline and then go like character to character.
Okay. You hit it then, girl.
All right. So then their first night together, then like Kathleen said, they spend like they give them almost like a mini like honeymoon weekend in Mexico. And they continue to like build their relationship. Then they go to each other's hometowns and they meet their families and then they move in together. This is episode 6 is when they all move in together. Wait, I have that backwards. They move in together first and then they meet the like the parents in episode 7. Episode 8 is them like continuing to work on their relationships, doing wedding stuff, trying on dresses. Episode 9 is their bachelor and bachelorette parties. And then episode 10 is the weddings. And you find out, this is what I find so fucked up about this show is these people, like, you know damn well you're not going to marry this person and you're going to drag it out till episode 10 in front of all of their friends and family and basically just like roast them and embarrass the fuck out of them, being like, okay, no, so I don't.
One of my fun facts is that apparently, you weren't allowed to talk to your fiance 3 days prior to the wedding.
What?
Yeah. So, and then another fun fact was apparently, allegedly, Mark and Jessica, spoiler alert, I mean, we're going to talk about it, like knew they weren't going to get married prior, but the producers were like, you're doing it.
Oh my God.
Isn't that lame?
Yeah, that's real lame. I mean, anyone who was watching knew that those two weren't going to get married. She was so obsessed with Barnett. It was just crazy. But again, we'll get into it. So let's go through the characters. They all are pretty fucking wacky. I mean, actually, there's the main couple that I rode for was
Lauren and Cameron.
Lauren and Cameron, yeah. Yep, I was going through my list of the names.
I mean, even so, Cameron is like a creepy dude to me. Like I'm not in. Honestly, let me say Barnett, Cameron, Damian, Kenny.
He has a great house.
I honestly, if I were gonna have to choose one, I would pick Kenny.
Really?
Like Cameron's freaky, Damian's a psycho, Barnett is a douchebag. I mean, he actually seems okay nowadays.
Yeah, I think I would actually pick Barnett if I'm being honest.
I mean, I would pick Barnett, but they made him be like such a player in the beginning. And when they first showed him, I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why him? Why are like no. The first interaction was Barnett told Diamond she had a stripper name.
Oh yeah.
I was like, no.
She was like, okay, goodbye. She just walked out. She was like, we do not have a connection. Goodbye.
Bizarre. Like, but I see Lauren and Cameron. I honestly, Cameron was like in the whole time, but Lauren, I was like, she might back out of this at the last second.
I actually thought the same thing. Like, Lauren seemed like she had like a head on her shoulders where she kept being like, this is not normal. Like, this is not how like love works. Like, I should not be marrying this guy this quick. And then like she obviously loved him. Like I don't see her as the kind of person that would say like I love you if she didn't actually feel that way. But I think she knew how unrealistic it was that she kept questioning herself to be like, fuck, I don't really know if I should be doing this. Like it's kind of scary. This is happening all so fast when she was like 32 years old. Like I'm sure I would think like, okay, why hasn't it worked with anybody else in my past 30 years? But now all of a sudden like I'm falling in love and marrying this guy that I've known for like 3 days.
There's a scene. Lauren is black, Cameron is white, and that was like not an issue, but like a relevant fact the whole time, like that Lauren was concerned about, or whatever it was, the biracialness of it all. I think Cameron meets her mom and then raps for her. Like,
Matt,
are we okay? Is this happening? It can't be true.
Matt, please play the clip of his rap.
I'm feeling like a kid with you. You're my main chick, those other girls are previews. Hop in the back, rolling up, then we're free to cruise.
When I was watching it at home, I was like, I could feel my skin crawling. Like, I wanted to be like, oh my God, get me the fuck out of here. Like, I don't even know how I watched the whole thing. I remember texting Brittany and Shannon in our group chat and just being like, I cannot even believe this is happening. Like, I want to die watching this.
So episodes 6, 7, 8, I won't really be able to talk to because it was background noise for me. Like I told producer Matt prior to this, like I couldn't get through the end fast enough. I thought that episodes 1 through 4 were like hot. They were good. I blew through them. And then I was like, okay, now that there's like not really any uncertainty other than are they going to get married or not, I don't really care because I didn't care who got married and who didn't.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't really rooting for any of them. I was like, I kind of hate all of these people. So I don't really care what happened. So I kind of lost interest halfway through. But 1 through 5, it's good TV.
Yep, definitely. So Cameron and Lauren end up getting married. They
seem good. They seem the most normal.
They've been together for over a year now because I think, if I'm remembering correctly, the reunion was a year after the show.
Yeah, they shot this at the end of 2018 and had to like keep it a secret until now.
That's crazy. You think
So
about
crazy.
how like The Bachelor. Oh, I don't know if you watch The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, but they have to keep it like hidden who they pick for like 3 months, and they can't see each other, and like have to be like really like low key about talking to each other. And like they say that's hard. Like imagine waiting a fucking year and a half of just being like super low key and making sure that you don't spoil that like you ended up with a person or you didn't.
Yeah, it's interesting because like The Bachelor, people are like trying to find out, but this show came in hot. Like nobody knew it was coming.
Yep.
You know, but I guess like soon as it starts, they could stalk the people, but nobody would know these humans until then.
Yep.
I guess they're hiding it from like friends and family too. I don't really know how that goes.
I don't, because I guess you really can't trust that like your great like Uncle Barry won't say anything or something.
Yeah, fucking Barry and his loose lips.
Okay, so the next couple. So we're really butchering this because you can tell we weren't as nearly as into it as the rest of the world was. But Lauren and Cameron get married. They're still killing it happily together. Our next couple is Amber and Barnett. In the beginning, Barnett is like juggling between 3 girls. So he's juggling between Amber, Jessica, and was it Elsie?
Yeah, and I liked her the best.
Yeah, and she doesn't even survive that. She's literally like gone within seconds. So I'm like looking through the cast name, and some of these I'm like, I don't even remember these names.
Well, the OG cast had 50 people in it. And another fun fact, 8 couples actually got engaged, and they only had the budget for 5. So that's why they picked these 5 couples. Like 3 other couples got engaged in the pods.
Oh, wow.
And they just, so they picked I read somewhere, I don't know if this is literal or not, but they basically just picked 5 out of a hat. Like they didn't think of it as like, okay, these 5 couples will probably like have the most drama or whatever. I think they literally were like, who the fuck knows? Let's just pick 5.
Yeah. Yep. Which is interesting because I think they did pretty well with who they went with. I mean, maybe the other couples were more batshit, but these ones were pretty batshit themselves. So, you know.
Yeah. So Amber is this like, what does she call herself? A tank mechanic?
An ex-tank mechanic.
An ex-tank mechanic. And she is like so scary right from the beginning. Like Barnett literally says like, I think she's going to beat me up or something like that. And it's so true. Like she's so aggressive. She's so
like, I feel like I'm going to be like so rude and I don't even mean to be, but like just like a sad excuse for like an adult. Like it's like she wants to be an adult, but she like is also like, I just want to live my life. And like the one scene, it pissed me off so bad. They like are living so they get engaged. This just shows how like ridiculous the show is. They get engaged and they're at Barnett's house and she's like sitting there and she basically says like she has no money. She hasn't paid her student loans in years. And
she works like when she has to, she says.
Yeah. And she has like an Ulta bill that's like $700. She maxed out her card. And he's just like looking at her like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you can tell that there's just like immediate regret in his face. Like, he's just like, fuck.
Yeah. I mean, he sticks by her. And those are the only 2 besides Gigi. I only follow Gigi and Amber and Barnett on Instagram because they seem like they're doing great now. But of course,
I don't follow any of
like
them.
if you make it, you got to know like when you're on this show, if you play it right, you're going to be a public figure now. You don't really need a fucking job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't think Amber was playing it that I didn't know who Barnett was going to choose, you know?
Oh, I had
like,
no clue. I thought he was going to go
like
for Jessica for a while.
Yeah, and so apparently they pay $1,000 a week to be on the show.
Wow.
And I think it was. I mean, that's not that much money. How long was it? 6-8 weeks or something?
Still, if you're comparing that, because wasn't she just waitressing when like not only a couple times a week?
Yeah, and I think Amber like actually handled herself. I liked her more as the show went on. So. Like we said, Barnett was going after Jessica, which is going to be like a whole other segment of this podcast because Jessica is like the most insane. But later on, like Jessica ends up with Mark. They are all in. That was what I was looking forward to the most. Jessica and Barnett meeting in person. Like that is like prime TV. I'm like, I cannot wait until these two see each other's faces.
Oh my God.
But I think Amber handled everything pretty well considering. Like Jessica was being a sneaky fucking rat.
Yeah. And
Amber, like besides in the reunion when Amber kind of popped off, like she was being fine the whole time to Jessica's face.
Yeah.
She could have kicked Jessica's ass.
Yeah, she totally could. And I also like sometimes I have to think about this when I'm watching stuff is like these producers are not fools. Like they will edit stuff to make things uncomfortable. So like I was so uncomfortable when Amber met Barnett's family, but I'm sure it was not as awkward as they like edited it to be. Like there was like,
I don't think anyone spoke during that entire meeting.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I think that I'm sure it was not nearly as bad as that, but they made it seem like his family was like, what the fuck? Like this girl is whack.
Barnett seemed like one of the more normal ones. Like he had a normal life. He had a good job. He had a house. He's had like in his group, he had friends, like his family, like his brother's like, dude, what are you doing? And that is the sign of a healthy human being. Yep. You know, like if I fucking went on that show and brought home a guy 4 weeks later and was like, I'm marrying him, you guys would all be like, what are you doing? Yeah. What kind of like whack ass shit is this?
Yeah. like, I know, it's so true.
If people think that's normal, like there's more underlying issues here.
That's true. Amber and Barnett, then they get married, and like Kathleen said, they're still going strong. They are the two couples on the show. Amber and Barnett and Lauren and Cameron are the two couples that get married on the show and stay together and are still together currently. So shout out to you four.
Shout out to love, because it's blind.
Love is blind. So that's great.
Okay, let's jump to my favorite couple, which is Gigi and Damien. Giannina and Damien. Giannina is like maybe the wackiest character of all time.
Oh my God.
Like the scene
where proposal.
Well, the proposal was crazy, but the scene where I was like, this bitch is wild is when she and Damien are in the other room and she's like, I lost my butterflies. And then it's like talking through like, she's like, do you realize that like every time we have sex, like you say it's the best sex you've ever had and I don't say anything back? I'm like, boom, bitch, that is a crazy thing to say.
I know. Yo, she's wild. And then but then it would be like 5 seconds later and she'd be like, I love you so much. Like she's off her fucking rocker. But she was entertaining. Like she was very entertaining to watch.
Oh, I also follow her. Sorry, I forgot. I follow her on Instagram because she's crazy. There's like multiple scenes where she's like trying to make out with him and he just seems like she's so aggressive. I cannot do anything with this. Like it seemed like she was scaring him.
Yep. So they get engaged. He like tries to propose to her and she stops him and then she proposes to him. Yeah, oh my God. It's just a lot. It's a lot.
That's a crazy move.
Yeah, and then they just have issues like throughout the entire show. Like 1 minute they fucking hate each other, the next they're loving each other, and it's mainly her. I felt like sometimes he could be a dick, but I think that he just got so frustrated with like how wacky she would get about stuff and like he'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I couldn't tell if we were missing something on the scene where they're on the boat and he's just like, this is so nice, like, to be away from the drama at home. She's like, what's your drama? And he's like, oh, no, it's like, it's just like saying, like, just like normal, like, and she's like, no, like, what is it? And he's like,
she was acting like he had like another girlfriend at home. Like,
yeah, I mean, but I feel like he could have just like made some shit up and like,
I would have been
nothing
like work,
crazy.
Yeah, work. I don't have to deal with the stress of work right now. Like, you know.
Yeah. That was the first big blowout.
Yeah. And then it just really went downhill after that. Like, at one point, they're like fighting in the gym because she's always on Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't even know. It's a whole shit show. So they end up, having a wedding, and he basically is like, I do not. And then I've seen so many memes with a picture of her that says runaway bride because she just loses it. She runs out of there. The camera crew's chasing her. She's like in the middle of nowhere, just running in her bridal gown with her veil, just running on the streets.
Doesn't she eat it too? She falls, doesn't she?
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, so he says no, but then they end up back together anyway. So they're boyfriend and girlfriend right now.
Yep. So when you finish the series, you're like, okay, they're not together. But then when they have the reunion, they're like, oh my God, we're back together and we're so happy. And she's just over the top. And I think she's like licking his ear at one point. Like, I don't know. She just wants everyone to know that they love each other and they're back together.
she is cuckoo, and I love her to death. Like I'm a Gigi stan. I like Gigi.
Yeah.
I would hang out with Gigi.
I think I would actually hang out with her too. I actually think she's a very pretty girl too.
So Kelly and Kenny are like the plot twist, I think.
Yeah. Because they almost had like no issues. The only like thing with them is that she wouldn't have sex with them, right?
That must be hard to watch for him. Because there's also a scene in Mexico where the boys and the girls are all talking and the boys are like finally reunited. It's after their first like honeymoon night in Mexico. And they're all talking about who banged who. And he kind of like makes it seem like they had sex.
I know.
And she's like, no, we didn't. Like, that was so interesting to me. I'm like, like she's going to watch this back, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can't like lie.
I know. You really can't. Like.
But yeah, she friend zoned him pretty good. And then, but you still think, I mean, you go through like up to the weddings and then she says no.
I just this is just like a quick note because I don't know why I thought of her, but like her mom is so emotional, like when she's getting married, like because it's a special time in your child's life, and I just don't think I could put my parents through that.
I know, right?
Like
maybe those are hired actors.
Yeah, like I actually really hope that that's not the real families. Because I like your mom's like her mom's like, oh my God, you look so beautiful. She has like this really close relationship with her sister, and her sister's basically like, I feel like her sister was really team Kenny. Like she was like, this guy is good to you.
Yeah, like it seems like Kelly had a lot of bad relationships. Like she picks the wrong guys.
Yeah, and her sister is like not trying to convince her. Like her sister really says like at the end of the day, like you do what you feel like is the right thing to do. But her sister was also kind of like, this guy actually cares about you. Like he's a good person. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, she says, I do not. I was kind of thrown by that when I first started watching the show. I was like, oh, these two will definitely get married. Like they seem to have like little to no issues. So when she said, I do not, I think I actually like gasped.
Well, she just like straight up wasn't attracted to him. She said it.
Yeah, which like
she's like, I usually go after taller guys and like brunettes, whatever. I'm like, you bitch.
I know. You should have just
sad.
Fucking ended it when you had the chance.
But he has a girlfriend now, so, and she's single, so
shallow.
Everything ends up where it's supposed to be.
Correct. And then our final couple that makes it to the wedding is the wedding stage is Jessica and Mark.
Yeah, I didn't even write Jessica and Mark down. Wow.
So Jessica is just this 34-year-old that just can't seem to find love. In the beginning when I was watching, like I'm like, I don't like, because I saw the meme, so I'm like, I don't really get what's like that bad about this girl. She looks like she just like can't find the one. But then you find that she is just fucking wacky. She's a fucking bitch. The shit she puts Mark through is like, oh my God, it makes me so upset because like he really, really liked her and she faked it. Like she just faked it. until she couldn't fake it any longer, which was at the altar.
Yeah, I don't even know where to begin with her. She keeps changing her voice to this like baby voice.
Mm-hmm.
She'll be like, "Hi, Barnett," and then just have a normal voice talking later. It's so weird.
Yeah.
But I think that Jessica again wasn't attracted to Mark either.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah,
She hated that he was shorter than her, you could tell. She hated just his face. Like, she just, oh my God.
Oh my God, when she was like wasted, I was loving it. She's like blacked out and just being like, I forget what she says, but it's such a sick burn. And it's something about Barnett, and they're like in bed, and she does a sick burn, and then Mark just forgives her in the morning. He's like, I know you were drunk, it's fine. I'm like, ugh.
Every time Jessica drinks is like when I used to drink Four Locos. She is like out of her fucking mind. Sloppy, stupid.
Yeah.
Like she just, she's like that girl that you just want to be like, get the fuck away from me. Like,
she honestly seemed like she was trying to get him to break up with her, and she just wouldn't.
yeah, what does she say? She says something like you weren't as attractive as Barnett. Like something on the lines of that, and like,
yeah,
and
it's wild.
And then, like,
she
he
just
leaves, and she's just like, all right, like, whatever. Like, you were in the wrong.
It's wild. And, like, there would be whole scenes of her explaining how she just doesn't feel it with Mark. And then the next scene, she'll be like, we're best friends. This is going so well.
Yeah, dude, she's off her rocker. And
yeah,
she, like,
I don't know if that they just, like, portrayed it wrong, but it doesn't track. And I don't know if that's just because it truly did not track, or if they, like, were really heavily like laying on the scenes of her being wacky and then just completely turning it around. Like, I don't know if it was the producer's fault or if and the directors or whatever, or if it was actually that insane.
Yeah, I really don't know either. It was absolutely mind-blowing. Just, I can't even. So and the Bachelorette scenes, like, so they only have each other, right? So like the girls have combined bachelorette parties, and it's like them and some of their friends, and then the guys have like their own separate one. And she's so drunk at the Bachelorette, and she's like touching Amber's face and being like, baby, I love you. Like, I would never do that. Like, I love you. I don't want Barnett. Like, ew, God. I'm
stop.
like, I know. I'm like, bitch, I'm shocked that Amber didn't just rock her.
I know, and she did good. Honestly, that scene was so funny. Amber, like, doing her, like, confessional or whatever outside, like, her solo one, and she's just, like, sobbing and being like, I love Barnett.
I know.
Like, sobbing and laughing at the same time. She's like, I'm so drunk.
Dude, yeah.
It's like, been there, dude.
But the one scene, her and Mark are, like, at her house talking, and they're, like, having, like, a deep conversation, and she just, like, puts down her wine glass and starts letting her dog, like, lick it. Like, as if he's drinking out of a water bowl, and she's like, he loves wine. And, like, that's it. And then she, like, goes back to the conversation. And then she takes a sip of it. Like, bitch, your dog's tongue was just in there. Do you know how often I watch my dog, like, lick his penis?
Well, that, and also, like, don't, like, is it okay to give your dog wine?
No.
That was what my concern was. People do wacky shit with their dogs all the time. People let dogs take bites of things, and then they eat the next bite. I'm like, that is crazy.
I know. I mean, I ride for my dog. Like, my dog is my number one, but we don't do stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm not a dog person. I'm not an animal person in
I
general,
actually am not a huge animal person either, but dogs.
I just never had any animals growing up.
I feel like you'd be a good like, lizard girl.
I am a lizard girl. I'm a fucking Slytherin.
Anyways, yeah, so as we said, she basically drags poor Mark along. The sweetest thing Mark did was when he sets up like fake pods at her house, and they have that little like picnic, and he's trying to make her comfortable. Like, he is trying to do everything he possibly can to like make her love him.
It's funny you say that. That was cute, because that made me go, wow, that this is so desperate that he literally has to like separate rooms to get along with her.
No, but I'm saying like, I'm not saying like, oh, I wish Kenny would do that, but I'm saying like
he's trying.
Yeah, like he's doing everything he can to try to make this work, and she's just a fucking asshole. So yeah, they basically get to the altar, and she says, I do not, because of course. She walks down the altar by herself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I don't know why.
I don't know, but fun fact that I found. Did you notice that Mark and Jessica were in a different venue?
I did not notice that, no.
Oh, yeah. Apparently they had to get married somewhere else because of, like, something got fucked up, so they had to, like, relocate them.
Oh, wow. Well,
I didn't even notice that.
It wasn't going to work anyway, and they knew that. They probably just threw, like, $300 down. I was like, let us use this room for 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's literally just in a warehouse. They just, like, set up a church.
And then lastly, our honorable mention, we have Diamond and Carlton.
Yeah, these two have one of the best blowouts of all time.
Oh my God. I mean, I gotta say, Diamond is me to the end. With her Beyonce exit, I mean, if you don't think I would do that.
Wait, did you see? I didn't know that was Beyonce when she said it.
Oh, did I? I sing that song in my car like me and Kenny broke up and I'm about to ruin his life. Like,
wait, can you sing it really quick?
Yeah, she's like, you ain't married to no average bitch, boy. You can watch my fat ass twist, boy, as I bounce to the next dick, boy.
Yeah. I was like, ooh,
dude,
ooh.
I loved it. I was like, yes, you sing Lemonade to him and you make sure he knows. Like, she throws her drink on him and then she just exits and it's hard. I loved it. Loved it.
Oh my God. Him saying that her like weave is fucked up. I was like, you asshole.
Yeah, he was like, I didn't really care for him to begin with.
No.
And
no.
That just made me like, ugh, more like, I'm like, okay, goodbye.
Yeah, their reunion at the reunion is like cringeworthy when he like gets down on one knee again.
Oh, yeah.
And like, so in the breakup scene that he throws this ring and they're in the pool. So like he throws this ring. And another fun fact, apparently all the rings are fake.
Oh.
Unless the boy fiance or whoever was proposing chose to buy a real one. So I'm guessing that they were literally all fake. No one after 3 weeks is like, I'm buying the real thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So because I remember when he threw that, I was like, I can just envision the cameraman's like being like, no.
Yeah.
So they break up, whatever. They don't even make it to all the couples reuniting. Like on their first night when it was just Carlton and Diamond in Mexico, they break up. Then like the next day when they were just about to meet up with the rest of the couples. And apparently that none of the other couples even knew Carlton and Diamond were there. Like that's why they don't really mention it, because they didn't know that Carlton and Diamond were there and were no longer there. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that is interesting. Well, and I think like so you find out that Carlton was bi, tells her, and I don't necessarily think she took it bad. I think she was just caught off guard. Like, I don't think she was judging him in any way. She just wasn't expecting it. And then he just, and maybe, like, it's his insecurity as well to be, like, people in the past took it bad, so he just expected that she was. Because then, like, he kind of popped off, and she was like, look, like, I just need time to, like, process what you said. And he just, like, was like, you're judging me. And she's like, I'm not. Like...
Yeah, that was really bad. I don't think she deserved. I mean, again, you don't know, like, you weren't there that whole night before, whatever. But they say like the whole night before she was like hugging him and being good about it. But I agree. Like, I think her biggest thing was that it's like, dude, we were supposed to tell each other everything in the pods. She said, like, you lied about that. And he said, I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you. And so that's a whole big thing. But I mean, truly, if you're in these pods and if you chose someone to marry based on what they're telling you in the pods, omitting something or not, or lying or whatever it is, like, that's a huge thing. Like, it's not, you can't let that, it's not a small thing.
Yep.
So I'm with my girl Diamond here, and I think she would have honestly just been like, okay, fine by the end of it, but not when he's like, your weave sucks and
Yeah,
your weave's slipping and this and that. And it's like, damn.
Well, and I think he says this in the reunion, but I think he just has so many insecurities, and his way to like handle that is to bring someone else down to make him feel better. And I was glad that he at least apologized. Like, I know, and I hate hearing this shit. Like, it happens everywhere because social media is like such a big thing these days. But like, he was getting like death threats on social media, and I'm like, people suck. Like, stop taking stuff so far. Like, I even hear about like the Bachelor girls getting it too. Like, stuff's portrayed differently, and like at the end of the day, like me and Kathleen are flat out saying like, yeah, these people suck, but like never ever message someone telling them to like kill themselves or something like to that. Like, it sucks that we live in a world where people do that and they think that's like okay to do and say over something that they watched on TV.
I mean, we're saying they suck because we're just like sitting at home being like, wow, these people suck. We don't know anything about these people. This is our stupid ass opinion.
Yeah, Jessica could be great.
Yeah.
So before we wrap it up, we're gonna sub producer Matt in for this segment. We're gonna do Fuck, Marry, Kill, Love is Blind edition.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So Matt, we're gonna start off with you.
Okay.
And then you can pass it back to us with your choices. So Fuck, Marry, Kill.
Okay.
Jessica,
Mm-hmm.
Amber,
Mm-hmm.
Gigi.
So, I know that you two ride for Gigi, but I actually thought she was worse than Jessica in a lot of ways. So I'm going to kill Gigi. For me, Gigi just was, and this might also be an age thing. Like,
I was just gonna say,
was gonna say with Jessica, I think a lot of Jessica's insecurities I can understand as also being like a single person at 34 and like having that anxiety of like with you, Julie, like if I came home with a 24-year-old, you would be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure
so like
would.
I get that anxiety of like, but he's so much younger. You know what I mean? Like and being obsessed with that. Whereas like Gigi would just be so the big one that bothered me so much, and I don't see anyone bring it up, but it bothered me so much, was when they were going to meet his parents and she's like just instigating an argument and he says like, can you please not yell at me because you're going to ruin this entire day. And then he asks her a question and she just starts whispering as soft as possible in like just such a catty like, oh, you asked me not to yell, so now I'm gonna whisper to the point that and I was just like, oh my god, I would like get out of the car and be done.
Yeah.
Like, so
yeah, she's a child.
So like Gigi, I couldn't stand.
Okay.
Obviously, Jessica, you're not gonna want to marry. Like I can sympathize, but would not want to live the rest of my life with. So.
I'm surprised. I thought you were going to say you would marry Jessica. And then I was going to ask if any of our listeners know her, if they could set you up.
No, I'd fuck Jessica. And then with
We're
Amber...
not going to go into that.
Amber, like, for me on the show was kind of just wallpaper. There were so many bigger personalities that I forgot that she was, like, even there a lot of the time. But there's some issues, but she, for the most part, seems to have, like... She had more of her shit together than Jessica or Gigi. Yeah. In my mind. So, marry Amber.
So, Amber, if it doesn't work out with Barnett, producer Matt just proposed.
Yeah, that's dropped on one knee in the pods.
Two of my favorite memes that were going around were like, Amber's laugh, it wasn't crazy the whole series. Like, she would just throw her head back with her mouth wide open. So, like, any meme with, like, Barnett says anything, and then they would just put a picture of someone with their neck, like, breaking with their mouth. Like, whatever. It'd be, like, a picture of The Exorcist. Oh, my. And then it'd be, like, Amber laughing. And then, so, like, everyone knew, like, Jessica's 34 marks, 24. That was, like, a big bit. And I liked when it was, like, Jessica, 34, COVID-19.
I never saw that one. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So, now I'm going to give you guys 3 guys, right? Mm-hmm. Before I give you these 3 names, I do want to say that you failed to mention what I think is one of a combination of the saddest and funniest scene in the whole show for me, which is Kenny talking to the cameraman after Kelly leaves him at the altar and he's dropping the cameraman's first name. We're just like, Timmy, I'm serious. Stop filming me.
Yeah, that is funny.
Because it's
yeah, that's really interesting.
Because I think that he's such a calm, cool, and collected guy. Like, that's his version of angry, is that he drops the name.
Yeah.
It's like, Kenny, this ain't a game. Turn it off. But yeah, so the guys you gotta have to choose from are Kenny, Damien, and Mark.
Couldn't throw Barnett in there, could you?
No. Everybody
All
wanted
right.
Barnett.
I already know who I'm doing.
All right, why don't you start?
Okay, I am killing Mark.
Wow.
I mean, I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I was so very unattracted to him the whole. I think it was just because it's like, how could he possibly not see what's right in front of him that Jessica does not like him?
Yeah.
I think there's something very like unattractive of someone who's just like can't even see what's right in front of him. So I'm gonna kill Mark. I'm gonna marry Kenny and bang Damien.
Woo!
Yeah, Kenny's just like the night. Like I'm a good guy all the way type thing. Damien's too scary, but I'll bang him and then
Okay.
and then yeah.
Okay.
How about you?
I'm killing Kenny, fucking Damien, and marrying Mark. I love.
Wow, let's hear why Mark.
A good thirsty boy. Give me all the attention.
I wouldn't know why you're killing Kenny.
Just to say, I killed Kenny.
You bastard.
I'm just kidding.
That's
no,
nice.
I just Kenny didn't do Kenny bored me. Didn't really do anything for me. Like, I wasn't really like into anything that was going on with Kenny and
Kelly.
I just think that Kelly
Kelly.
wasn't bringing any of the fun out of him either. Like, yeah, I agree with you that like everything we saw with Kenny and Kelly was very white bread. But I
Yeah.
think that's just because Kelly was very white bread. Like, she wasn't giving him like a platform to be fun. They were just being like sweet and I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I could mold him.
Yeah, I'm sure you could, honestly. Yeah, I don't know. I thought Mark was sweet, and I think that think one, he was probably too young to be on the show. I think that was
Yeah.
like a lot of like, even I keep bringing up The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, but like this season of The Bachelor sucked so bad because half the girls were like under 23, and it's like I just think of myself at 23, and I'm like, dude, like I could have never got it together to like get married and have kids by like 25. Like it's like not realistic, and you're still so young, and you still have that like immaturity to you where like, do I think some people could do it? Sure, but like most of the time, like I just think that like shows like that should be older people, like mid 25 and higher to like mid 30s, just like the people that are really ready to like settle down and get married and like find their person. But yeah, I just thought Mark was sweet. I didn't necessarily think he was that attractive. He wasn't my cup of tea, but I don't know, I liked him. I think he went through hell,
He did.
you know.
Thank you for throwing him a bone, Julie.
You're welcome. Anytime. Well, that wraps it up for today. Thank you, everyone, for listening to another episode of My Favorite Episode of. Continue to stay safe. I can't wait for the day that we won't have to say that and everyone will be able to be safe and healthy and be able to hang out with their friends, and I can just hug Kathleen.
All the hugs. I miss that so bad.
The
I need a good hug.
We really ended our last in person on rocky terms. You know, we were butting heads. We couldn't vibe. I think we're gonna come back strong when we can finally see each other in person.
Yeah, we took it for granted.
Yeah. So this is a life lesson for us, and what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
True that. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
All right. Well, I'm fucking starving.
I'm always fucking starving. Snapchat.
This has been My Favorite Episode Of. My Favorite Episode Of is produced by Matt Kelly as part of the Geekscape Network and hosted by Julie and Kathleen. Check out our show notes for all of our socials and email us at myfavoriteepisodepodcast@gmail.com. Rate, review, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting apps, and we'll be back next week with another episode of My Favorite Episode Of.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network. You're listening to the Geekscape Network.